Well, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the brand new release from Broadway Limited, the EMD GP30. There are three schemes we're going to be taking a look at: a CSX YN2, UP844, which is in a museum as it appears today with the kind of lighter gray, and the Southern tuxedo scheme. So let's get into the boxes and see what you get in this EMD GP30 review of Broadway Limited's latest release. Try not to be repetitive on the channel too much because reviews can be repetitive as it is in the formatting. So I'll just be unboxing one locomotive of the three, and we'll look at the other two in operation. Inside the box, after lifting off the white lid, is a white operator's manual. On this manual you have over 20, a total of 27 pages here of information, and tucked inside is a function listing for both regular and for Pro mode. So you can pause and take a look at that. Pro mode has more of the lighting individual features. Standard mode is how you've been operating Broadway Limited locomotives if you've had them in the past. Pro mode is fairly new, I would say within the last year or so. Time flies so fast, maybe longer. Inside the plastic blister on the top, it says, to avoid damage to your BLI locomotive, please turn off track power before placing locomotive on track. Verify all wheels are on the track before applying track power. So I haven't personally had any issues with this, even when I have, but if they're telling you to do it, it's probably safer to do so, and as the old saying goes, better safe than sorry. So lots of bracing on here, some soft plastic, hard plastic. We'll get all of the handrail protection out and we'll take a closer look. Okay, up close look at the Southern first. You've got antennas and grab irons on the top. This front mounted bell, which is distinctive for the Southern, maybe on other roads as well. It's just got a distinctive bracket and bell there on the nose. LED headlight, stanchions along with a drop step. I'll check this drop step right here. I believe it is fixed. Yes, it is. It's fixed in the upward position. Accessory hoses, brake line hose with silver tipped ends, coupler cut bar. You can see Broadway's recent kind of revamp of their diesels present in this already, with a nice look, nice details as I look. You've got silver and metal windshield wipers, sunshades. The handbrake right there is the old style that's like a bar that you lift and crank up and down and up and down. This predates the wheels, the wheel handbrakes that you see on today's equipment. Storage compartments, trucks are down here. As you go up, you see a horn. Looks like a 3-chime horn up top. And as we move along the sides, plumbing above the fuel tank sight glass and shutoff, exhaust, dynamic brake fan, Southern on the side with all of the compartment detail. So we go towards the rear. One thing I noticed on unboxing is that stanchion has come out of its little area that it kind of press fits into. It's not broken, it just needs to be press fit in that area, and I was struggling with that for a minute because my eyesight's getting bad, so I'll do that after the review. You can see that this little caution area here for the step is accurate with the striping. Going towards the back where the radiator fan grills are, there are separately applied grabs. The 3 radiator fan grills, 2 different sizes, you can see as well, with see-through detail of the fans. On the rear, you've got that prolific striping on the pilot, in the front and rear actually. Rear lights, more separately applied grabs, as you can see. And more of the same with the coupler cut bar and the accessory hoses with silver tipped ends. The coupler is metal. More of that striping on the other side as we work our way up. So I know there's lots of things I didn't mention between not knowing and trying to hurry to show you all three schemes. We will move along, but just so you know, there's no cab figure, or no, there is a cab figure tucked away back here. A little hard to see, but he is tucked away back here towards the back. You might be able to see him right about there. So cab figure and cab interior details are installed. Okay, you ready for the stupidest comment you've ever heard in a product review? This plastic right here that wraps the locomotive reminds me of the smell that you get when you open a box of new tennis shoes. So I'm like thinking maybe I should get a pair of new tennis shoes now. Maybe this is a big old conspiracy from Broadway Limited. Maybe they're bringing back their choo-choo shoes and just getting us all subconsciously ready for them. I don't know. But that smell, I was like, where is that coming from? And it's coming from the plastic. Anyway, to CSX, as you can tell, there's obviously some differences. These are road name specific details that you'll see Broadway Limited started to do more and more of. Obviously, different horn configuration. There's not that step up on the roof or high hood. You've got the low hood. All the differences between the Southern that we just looked at. Horn mounted on the side. Even the window configuration, obviously being a low hood, not a high hood, is going to be a 4-window configuration versus a 2. Still have those silver windshield wipers that you can see there. The YN2 scheme looking really nice with the tri-colors there, but more of the same detail we've talked about before. Another difference is the bell mounted here versus that front bell. So that's another spotting difference on the YN2 scheme. Still have the same dynamic brake fan and radiator fan grille configurations, so we're just going to breeze right through this and finish this 360 and be a glorified model railroading Vanna White for now, and we'll move on to the next scheme. Alright, now we've got the UP844 GP30 in a museum out west, and it has the as seen today paint scheme. So you're probably wondering, why is the gray so faded? Well, when it sits out at the museum, it starts working on the gray. This is a Broadway Limited switcher, and you can see the darker gray on that UP yellow and what that is supposed to look like. So before it was all faded, obviously, by the sun. So as seen today means it's going to be faded out and look like the museum version, which I wish more manufacturers would make museum locomotives. They make locomotives, and you get frustrated when they already have the locomotive out, but they don't release the number that is at a museum, because there's a contingent of modelers, including myself, that likes collecting things from museums, trains from museums. So anyway, on this one, there are ditch lights. Another difference with the different paint colors. Still have the drop step, or the paint schemes I should say. Drop step, you've got nose, class lights, a headlight, horn mounted up top. Same appearance as CSX to a large extent, with the tapered area above the headlight there, number boards on each side, sand filler hatch on the nose. As we work our way to the side, more of the same in terms of the CSX configuration there as well, with the exception of the horn placement. And I will zoom in so you can get that clear and crisp look. Silver's nicely done on that, on the trucks. Handrails, that's one thing I didn't mention. The handrails are pretty straight for plastic handrails. Haven't seen a lot of problems between these three locomotives and the handrails. So grab irons on the rear one, embracing the rear radiator fan pretty closely there. I don't know if it lifted up and on the... It's just kind of supposed to be that way, right up on the radiator fan grill. And then more of the same on the other side. Nothing that we haven't already covered. I've mentioned, just maybe in a slightly different place due to the road name specific detail. All right, with that said, let's get into operation. Okay, let's get a weight on these real quickly. Gonna fire up the scale, and it's showing 14.4 ounces. You guys can never see that for some reason. I really need a different scale, but it's showing 14.4 ounces, 408 grams. So just shy of a pound by about 1.6 ounces. So not too bad for such a short locomotive. Looks like I just need to change the angle and you can see the weight, but one viewer did request, ooh, we get some oil there, quite a bit actually. I have to clean that off, but one viewer did request that I bring back the on-screen NMRA standards gauge, so I'm doing that. So you can see that the wheel sets are in gauge. I guess he didn't trust me or something, but I don't mind. So the wheel sets are in gauge on these locomotives. Okay, we've got the locomotive on track. Track power's applied. We followed the instructions like a good boy. I did not turn the power on before putting the locomotive on the track, just to be safe. So, 28 functions listed. There are 2 different ways to start a Broadway Limited locomotive in terms of sounds and movement. You're going to either hit F9, which is an extended startup and a shutdown eventually, or you can just simply move the locomotive. I will hit the F9 button so you can hear the extended startup. So what you heard is the ballast under the feet of the locomotive engineer. He goes, boards the locomotive. You hear the door open and close. You hear the prime mover crank up, and then you have the start. So pretty realistic extended start. I haven't seen anything like that in the industry. F0 is all lights on and off. 1 is bell. 2 is horn. Just making sure the headlights turned on and they have that Rule 17 dimming effect. F3 coupler sounds. Maybe not. Oh, you have to move it to get that coupler sound. Also, another viewer request, F22 is the alternate horn, so we'll hit that and listen to that. It sounds like it has a slightly lighter octave to it. Pretty close. F4 is air compressor, dynamic brake. Air compressor, I'm guessing, when not moving. Gonna hear that whine there. F5 increase the prime mover RPM, and F6 is decrease. We'll do that real quick. Bringing it back down here. F7 turns off the class lights. F8's the master volume, and it essentially mutes it or turns it on. F9's the startup and shutdown I referred to earlier. 10 radiator cooling fan. A little hard to hear. 11 is the fill air lines. 12's brake set and brake release. 13's grade crossing horn. Now 14 through 21 are different sounds. I'll just pick one here, radio chatter on 17.
I don't know if you'll be able to come out or not, but that's all I got today. Over. Okay. I'll give you all after it gets by then. Thank you.
So, and then you've got industrial sounds, lumber mill sounds, etc. I'll give you one example of that on F20, 20, which is the industrial sounds. Sounds like, you know, different heavy equipment operating. If you're in an industry on your layout, it's a good thing to use for realism. Here's a track sounds on F23. So you hear that clickety clack when you hit F23 again to turn that off. And then number boards on and off on F24. So you see that effect there. I can turn off the lights so you can see the lighting a little better. 25 is the long horn. So you hear a little bit of taper there. 26 is record and playback, or actually playback the macro. 27 is record. So you can run this thing at a certain speed, record different horn sequences when you hit F27, and then you hit F27 again, and F26 will play that back. So F28's brake squeal, and that wraps up the 28 functions. It's been a while since I've gone through all 28 functions, but wanted to do that for you here. Let's go ahead and move this locomotive at slow speed steps and see how that responds with our AccuTrack 2 speedometer. Got the CSX version moving here, so you can see that one at 1 speed step out of 128 on my NCE Pro Cab. And you have a 2.5 mile an hour readout. Now people have said this is kilometers per hour because the status light blinks down there. That's incorrect. It's HO scale and miles per hour. So this is reading out at 2.5 scale miles per hour. And here's a look at the CSX YN2 scheme. Now one thing I do want to show you before we move on to other testing, we'll go in reverse real quick here. You can see the bright lights and number boards there. Pretty smooth forward and back. I'm going to stop this locomotive, zoom out, and I'm going to pick it up. We're going to time this on the mark on my watch here. Six seconds of track power interruption. Hope I'm doing what I'm not supposed to here, putting this on while it's powered, but 6 seconds of track power interruption with that added capacitance. So that capacitor allows you to have dirty track that, you know, the feeder dropped off of or whatever, and the locomotive continues with the last program that it received to the decoder. So if you have, you know, dirty track for 5 feet, for example, and the last thing you told the locomotive to do was go 25 speed steps, then that's what it's going to do through that dirty track until it receives a signal back from your DCC system telling it what to do next. So yes, if that track is completely not receiving a signal, it's not going to respond to your DCC system until it does, but it allows for some human error on our layouts. The last locomotive we have yet to see in action is the UP844, the GP30, not the steam locomotive. But I will tell you that this is operating just as well. Now, one difference I'll show you in a moment is the headlights or the ditch light configuration, but this is operating no problem. You see the prime mover start to react to the DCC inputs. So smooth forward and back, pretty well executed product in my opinion. But you be the judge with all of this data. All right, we've got lights off so you can see the headlight, class lights, and ditch lights. I've received viewer questions from a few people on the ditch lights. These appear to have a better brightness than I've seen from previous products from various manufacturers. So it looks like the ditch lights have a decent brightness. Now they are on and forward, but with the Pro lighting mode, or in reverse, but the Pro lighting mode you can change that. The cab light is going to turn off once you reach 3 speed steps. And when it comes to under 3, cab light turns on. So as we go forward, these number boards, I'll turn the cab light off, but we're gonna have to move a little quickly here. These number boards are really nice. They're evenly distributed light. There's no bleed through. So that is really well done as well. All right, we're going to do a pull test, and we're going to do an NMRA coupler height test, and we'll have you back to your layouts in no time. So this is pulling at about 1.74 ounces peak. So you're talking about 25, 30 cars on this Broadway Limited GP30. Those are standard HO scale freight cars. All right, dead on look at the coupler height so you can be the judge, because people will get on me all the time that I don't say it right, but that looks dead on to me. Maybe slightly angled downward, but this would be a successful couple and something that would probably hold through a consist. We'll do the front. And same there. I mean, you might want to call that a quasi millimeter high, but you know, you guys be the judge. I just show you it looks dead on to me. All right, that's going to wrap up our review of the Broadway Limited GP30. Overall impressions, straight handrails, nice detail. It seems like they're upping their game on the diesel, both how they design, the accuracy, the detail, and just a very smooth drive. It looks like they're even lowering their speed steps so that it's out the gate a smooth drive with a slower speed step setting with the control variables. Beautiful number board lighting, very, very accurate, no bleed through. Lovely sound as far as both all of the 28 functions. Don't forget about the Paragon 4 Rolling Thunder. You can have a separate subwoofer, which I do have, that provides that trackside experience bass, and the added capacitance in case you have dirty track or areas with not great electrical conductivity for your layout. With that said, I'm going to leave you with a run by. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.